What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel and welcome to another true crime video. I say true crime video instead of a true crime Sunday because today is not Sunday. The day you are seeing this is likely not going to be a Sunday. I wasn't planning on doing this case. This case literally just happened, and so obviously I didn't plan to do this case is what I'm trying to say, is what I'm trying to tell you. So anyway, you're probably seeing this on a day that is not Sunday, so you might get an extra one, or this might take the Sunday's place. So today we're going to be talking about Bianca Devins. Now, if you've already seen things on this case, you likely will have seen some misleading information or quite possibly even true information, who knows. But today we are going to be talking about facts because there is so much misinformation out there, and if I say anything that might come out later to be maybe not true or there might be extra information, I will put that all in the description box below, any updates, just like I did with the Jessica Johnson case. But basically, she was a 17-year-old girl who literally graduated from high school this past June. Bianca was interested in gaming and things like that. She was considered an e-girl. A lot of the terminology that I'm going to be using in this video is going to be things that I've had to research because it's like a whole new vocabulary. If you already know what an incel is or all their kind of vocabulary, then this might be, I'm just explaining things to you that you already know. But if I don't know them and I live on the internet, then I'm gonna go ahead and assume that not everybody knows the incel vocabulary because they literally have a world of their own. So an e-girl or an e-boy, I just realized my contour is really just, it's hectic. Anyway, an e-girl or an e-boy is, they've got like blush on their nose, blush on their cheeks, and they're like very soft looking and alternative. So I'll put what she looks like up on here, but basically an e-girl or an e-boy can be considered a compliment, but it can be also considered an insult, I guess, if you don't want to be an person. The only way I can see that as being any sort of insult is when I was seeing a lot of the scene people, I mean, we're talking MySpace days, a lot of the scene people, when they were called emo, they would be like, I'm not emo, I'm scene, all that kind of stuff. So basically, that's the look she's trying to emulate. It doesn't look like she's trying to be anything else. So I do think that's a pretty good description of it. I don't think it's an insult, but she was considered an e-girl. An e-girl basically is what you'd see on Tumblr. I don't know if Tumblr is still a thing. It was a thing when I was like doing the whole scene thing, but I was, how old was I? I was her age. I was literally her age when I was doing what she's doing, and we had Tumblr, but she has like, well, she had 4chan and Reddit. Is that the same thing? Don't know. I see, look, I'm not into all of this kind of stuff. Reports do say that she was an Instagram influencer, but that's not true. She gained 128,000 followers after her death. Before that, she had 2,700. So I do think that she was quite big on these like 4chan and gaming platforms. I know that a huge part of this story is her Discord, which is basically like a gaming forum where you can talk to people and all that kind of stuff. It's like a whole other world, but definitely is not the same as Instagram. It's like a gaming thing. Before we get into the depths of this case, there are two words that you will need to know for this all to make sense. So you've got a beta orbiter and then you've got incel. The first one we'll talk about, I guess, is it's not even just a word, it's a whole entire community. So an incel is basically an anti-feminist movement of predominantly males. There are some females within this community, and it did come from wholesome beginnings, but basically what the incel community now is a group of people who feel like they are victims because they are either virgins or they don't have a lot of sexual activity happening. And as I said, this community has their own vocabulary, but let's talk about the roots from where this incel movement actually came from. It was originally made by a woman called Alana, who was kind of, it was just a website where she put down her feelings on how sexually inactive she was, and she wasn't a virgin, she was just sexually inactive, and it became this community, and her mailing list was called INCEL. It had a V in there, but then she shortened it to Incel, and that's where the word comes from. The website's name was called Alana's Involuntary Celibacy Project. So basically it was just a group of people talking about their experiences, and maybe they haven't had sex in a while, maybe they have never had sex, but they're basically just connecting on a level where their mutual thing is that they haven't had a relationship in a while, and they're just sharing their experiences. So that is what it started out as. But then it turned into this whole subculture of people who think that they are owed sex, that they deserve sex as a basic human right, and that they are victims for not getting sex. They put a lot of blame onto, and this is part of their vocabulary, but Chads and Stacys. So Chads and Stacys are basically anyone that an incel deems as better looking than them, or like getting a lot of sex and having a lot of relationships. So it turned into this huge thing where it was no longer what it originally had set out to be. So Alana, when she graduated from college, she realized that she was queer, and she started to understand herself a little bit more, and she gave away her website, her whole community, on what was meant to be sharing your experiences in celibacy, and you weren't choosing to be celibate, basically. It was called the Involuntary Celibacy Project. So she gave it away because she's understanding herself a little bit more. She realizes, hey, you know, my sexuality isn't what I thought it was. It's you know, and so she gave it to a stranger, and that was in the year 2000, and that is when things really took off for this strange community of fedora wearing perverts, basically. So I'm gonna read out a quote from Alana, and it reads, "Like a scientist who invented something that ended up being a weapon of war, I can't uninvent this word nor restrict it to the nicer people who need it." It's turned into something horrible, because now there are this new subculture of men and you know, a couple of women who are now murdering women because they feel like they are deserving sex, and they feel like these women are the reason they're not getting it. And so there's been this whole wave in the last decade of incels murdering people because they feel like they're victims, and they feel like murdering these people is what they have to do to, I guess. So yeah, now there are all of these incels murdering people because they feel like they deserve sex, and they feel like they are owed sex, and it's like started off as this wholesome thing, then it turned into this like kind of problematic thing, and now it's turned into murders, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this particular case. But before we get deep down in it, the last thing that I'm going to explain to you is what a beta orbiter is. And a beta orbiter is basically someone who within the incel community kind of hovers around a girl on social media, like being that white knight guy. That guy's he's just like a little too nice. That guy who will compliment every single photo that you've got, maybe send you way too many DMs in the hopes of getting his foot in the door, in the hopes of either being the guy that you choose or getting sex from you. So that is what a beta orbiter is. Someone who orbits around a girl on social media to kind of manipulate them into having sex or being in a relationship with them. So where does Bianca come into this? Well, Bianca is basically an incel's perfect idealistic woman. And actually, let's not even say woman, because she's not a woman. She was a young girl. She was a teenager. She'd only just graduated high school, so she's not even a woman. But basically she is the incel's perfect girl, because she is not a Stacy, because a Stacy is typically someone who, I guess, has platinum blonde hair, has lip fillers, wears makeup all the time. Basically me, I don't know, like a Stacy, I don't know. She is someone who is very, very attractive, but she's a gamer girl. She is into like cosplay and the alternative cool girl thing. So yeah. And then you have this guy called Brandon Clark. Now, Brandon is 21 years old, so already there is a huge age gap there. But he was a part of the same Discord. Remember, Discord is a gaming community. So he was part of the same Discord as Bianca, but there are so many people online who are saying, no, how dare you say they were boyfriend and girlfriend? They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, he was her stalker. Then you've got posts from her sister being like, I have to debunk all these theories now because there are so many people who are being so hot-headed and spreading false rumors. He was not a stalker, they were dating, and he was a trusted family friend. So as much as it would feed into this narrative, this really like crazy story, like, wow, this stalker incel guy, you know, he wasn't incel, but he wasn't stalking her. They knew each other in real life, they were part of the same Discord, they were interested in the same things. They did decide to go to a concert together, and he wasn't this random person who tracked her down online. So there are, that's what I mean when I say there's so much misinformation here, and I'm gonna go off what I've seen from the family and what I've seen from her friends. So the concert that they decided to go to was a Nicole Dolenganger. I literally don't know who that is, but it was in a small venue in Queens. It's a concert basically, and this artist, I'm assuming they both were into, or at least Bianca was into. So they decided to go. So they got to the small venue in Queens at around 6:30. It is assumed that they left their venue at 11:30, which meant that they would have likely gotten back to Utica at 3:30 a.m. and that would be on the Sunday. And then between the hours of 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. within his SUV, he cut her throat ear to ear. Now, a lot of people are saying that he decapitated her. He didn't. It was just a very deep cut. What makes this case even more mortifying is the fact that he took a photo with the cut in the photo with blood everywhere and posted it to his Instagram story and his Instagram newsfeed. So his Instagram feed. And he captioned the one on his feed, "I'm sorry, Bianca." Not only did he post the photo to his social media, he also posted it in their Discord, which prompted people who were worried, who saw this photo, to call the police. And he also called the police before moving her body onto the ground next to the SUV under a green tarp. So when the police got there, it was around 7:40, and they saw him see them, and before they could do anything, he quickly ran over to the tarp, laid his body like over the tarp, and then start cutting his throat while taking a selfie and posting it to Instagram. They saw some brown hair underneath the tarp, which would later be found to be Bianca's body. So the photos of Bianca are still available on the internet. I will not be posting them in this video, and I do not suggest that you go and find them. I saw it by accident. I was just researching for the case and someone put it in the comments, and I saw it last night and I had a panic attack after, and it's not like the Jessica Johnson case. The Jessica Johnson case, I said, you know, it doesn't look like a dead body and you need to see the photo to understand the case. This is not like the Jessica Johnson photo. This is, yeah, it's horrific. And it was, Instagram didn't take it down. Instagram took 12 hours to take this one photo down. Prior to that, they had that sensitivity filter thing over it, but they just didn't take it down. So after they took it down, and even to this point, I still see this photo online, when people are reporting it, they're taking screenshots of Instagram's response, and it's that typical, we didn't find that it violated our terms and conditions, so we're gonna leave it up. And so that's the frustrating thing, because Instagram is constantly saying that their technology is really good, that they stop these things before they get uploaded, which completely isn't the case. And we already see that, you know, even for myself, who's uploaded a photo where I haven't even been nude, but someone's reported it for it being sexual, and my whole entire Instagram account got deleted and they still won't give it back. And it's kind of just like, it is a flawed platform to be on anyway, so we shouldn't put too much value in Instagram's word. You know what I'm saying? We already know that Instagram is flawed. It's just a shame that things like this happen and you can't get it down and it ruins people's day. So in the version that he posted to his story, he captioned it with, "Sorry, you're gonna have to find someone else to orbit. Remember what I said about beta orbiters." And people say that this was planned because at the time, well, I mean, we don't know exactly when he did it, but he changed his Instagram bio to his date of birth to that day's date, and then down the bottom it said, "Just know I feel no more pain." And on top of that, he was actually sending Bianca murder-suicide locations. So some people are like, that should have been a red flag, but then remember that she was into all of this kind of stuff, and it might have just been something that they usually talk about, if you know what I'm saying. So he had surgery and then he was arraigned in his hospital bed, and he is going to be charged with second-degree murder. Even though he was talking to the police in the early hours of him being at the hospital, he has stopped cooperating and he's asked for a lawyer. So since this case went live, Bianca's gone from having 2,700 followers on Instagram to now having 129,000 followers, and it's only Tuesday. This happened on Sunday, which would have been yesterday. Wow. It's been one single day. That also brings in so many people who don't know her. Like, I'm someone who doesn't know her. I'm trying to be as respectful as I possibly can. But there are people who are not being respectful. In terms of the people who are showing this photo, this has been one of the most frustrating parts of it, not just for me because it gave me a panic attack, but for the family. The family have actually had to take to social media and put out statements telling you guys how you posting that photo is affecting her family. Her mother put up a photo of Bianca behind her graduation like cake that she got. And she was basically saying like, this is how I will remember her, and having a go at all of the disrespectful people out there who are circulating her daughter's murder photo on the internet. I know that the people who are doing this are likely just, you know, stupid 14-year-olds who are like, well, they're never gonna see it. I'm just this insignificant person. They don't know me. But I am telling you, literally the second that I think of a Tim Tam in my head, my Instagram has a suggested post of a freaking Tim Tam. I'm like literally 0.24 seconds after I've thought the thought. So can you imagine being her family, and maybe you do want to see what's happening, but you don't want to see that photo. Just by them typing in her name, wanting to get updates on the case and things like that, and just seeing what people are saying, and then having these people who post her murder photo in the comments, and they're gonna have to see that over and over and over again. I literally did not even search up the photo. I was just looking at an article and someone posted it in the comments. Like, I saw that photo. This was the first time I had even typed in her name and I saw that photo. Can you imagine being her family? On top of that, there have been I literally, in the comment section of every single piece of research that I did, there were so many people saying rude things about her. Saying, one person was like, she was a degenerate. Another person said she deserved it because she like manipulated men. Another person was like, she posted provocative photos. And also, I've seen her Instagram. There is literally like 5 photos on there. They're all of her face. None of them are even remotely provocative, like at all. I don't know what she posted on 4chan or Reddit or her gaming Discord or anything like that. However, even if she posted, like, it doesn't matter what she posted. Literally, I don't care if you're walking down the street with a dildo strapped to your head. It does not mean that you deserve to be murdered. It doesn't mean that you as a person lose value. It doesn't mean that anyone has the right to disrespect you. It doesn't mean that anyone has the right to have less respect for you. Your sexuality, your body, what you decide to post on the internet, as long as it's not hurting other people, does not devalue you as a human being, and definitely does not mean that you deserve to get murdered. I literally don't know any case where a male victim, like, you know, where something has happened to a male and they've brought up all of their sexual history or their past relationships and things like that when it has literally nothing to do with the case. So when you think about all the stuff that is happening with Bianca's case and you apply that to a male victim, it's like, it just sounds ridiculous because it is ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous. And in terms of this photo, there have literally been people on Instagram being like, every new follower I get, I will DM you the photo. There was another account where it was like, when I hit 8,000 people, I'm going to show you all the photo. And then there was another despicable, absolutely horrid, probably talentless musician who clickbaited their like people on Instagram saying, oh, like, here's a link to the photo, and people clicked it and it was literally their new album. And I'm like, you're probably talentless for you to have to do that in the first place, and you're just disgusting, despicable. Like, you should be put in a trash can. So what do we learn from this case? Well, first of all, I've seen so many people say that it's the internet's fault, that the internet does all of this stuff, and that we should dismantle the internet, we should restructure the way that we use the internet. And I actually disagree. I agree that the internet is, you know, it offers more opportunity for these things to be done. However, the issue is with the people who are using the internet. It is people who make the internet a scary place. It is people who create these beauty standards that we can't ever reach. It is people who make the internet what it is. The internet is literally just a tool. It's the people who are doing these things. The problem is not within social media. The problem is within the people, because I can guarantee you that this guy would have done what he did without the internet. On top of that, they were in real life friends. They weren't just internet friends. Yes, they were in the same Discord and things like that, but he was a trusted family friend. They had dated. Even when you have all of these incels who are murdering women, like, this is an actual thing. It happens every single day. Like, yes, this is quite a different case because it's very specific and the internet has picked it up and run with it. And also, this case, there is a photo involved, which makes it really easy to circulate and get everyone hyped up. But you guys are forgetting that women are literally murdered for the same reasons every single day. The problem is within people. It's in how we raise our boys to value themselves depending on how many sexual partners they've had. It is in how we raise our boys to think that they have possession over human beings, over women. We should honestly be focusing on dismantling the male ego rather than dismantling the friggin' internet, because it is the people who do this, and these people will do this without the internet. It's happened before the internet. It will continue happening until we focus on the real problem. I know what you're thinking. Not all men, right? I know. Keanu Reeves wouldn't do this, but it is enough men for this to be happening every single day. I know I don't usually turn my true crime cases into teachable moments, but I just continuously see people focusing on the wrong things. I saw so many misleading articles. I saw so many people on the internet just saying things that weren't true, especially the fact of, like, was he her boyfriend or was he just a stalker? I'm gonna go with what her sister says. He was a trusted family friend and they had dated. So it's, as much as it would help this interesting narrative, you know, story to be entertaining and things like that, it's just simply not true, and it's not for your entertainment. True crime is just that. It is true crime, and I'm sure that the family want the truth to be out there. I'm sure the family want this to be represented in the way that it actually happened. So I'm gonna ignore all of the angry people out there being like, no, he was a stalker, like, they didn't know each other, he tracked her on a tracking device. It's just, there's a lot of theories out there, and any updates, anything that maybe I did get wrong, or maybe, you know, any updates in the case, I'll leave in the description below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really does help. I do true crime videos every Sunday and regular videos every Wednesday. Obviously, this is a true crime Sunday and it's probably going to be uploaded on a Wednesday, but there is at least one true crime video every week. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.